bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. And by regular attendance of the Bhagavatam class and by rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious within the heart of the candidate becomes destroyed practically to nil. Thus, loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being as an irrevocable fact. Jayo! How are you doing today?
Hanging in there.
Well, don't hang yourself, right? Okay, so we're on text number 21, chapter 15, canto 1. So repeat after me. Tadvai danus tva shiva sarato hayaste.
What about the tune, you know?
Brahma Samhita.
Yeah, Brahma Samhita too.
Tadvai danus tva shiva sarato hayaste. Tadvai tanusta ishvasarato hayaste. Tadvai tanusta ishvasarato hayaste. Soham rati nripatayo yata anamanti. Soham rati nripatayo yakta anamanti. Sarvam shanena tad abhut sa ishariktam. Sarvam shanena tad abhut sa ishariktam. Bhashman hutam kuhakaratam ivoktam usham. Bhashman hutam kuhakaratam ivoktam usham. Am I saying it right? Is it okay? I was kind of saying it like somebody that was drunk. Tadvai danusta ishavasarato hayaste. Soham rati nripatayo yatta anama anamanti. Soham rati nripatayo yatta anamanti. Sarvam kshanena tad abhut sad ishariktam. Sarvam kshanena tad abhut sad ishariktam. Bhashman hutam guhakaradam ivoktam ushyam. Bhashman hutam guhakaradam ivoktam ushyam. Anybody want to try it?
Tadvai danusta ishvasarato hayaste.
Tadvai danusta ishvasarato hayaste.
Soham rati nripatayo yata anamanti.
Soham rati nripatayo yata anamanti.
Sarvam Shanena Tadabuddha Sadishariktam.
Sarvam Shanena Tadabuddha Sadishariktam.
Ashmam Bhutam Kuhakaradam Vivoktamosham.
Anybody else want to try it? Tavai Danusta Ishavasarato Hayaste. Soham Rati Vipatayo Yata Anumanti.
Sarvam Shanena Tat Abud Ashat Ishariktam.
Sarvam Shanena Tadabuddha Sadishariktam.
Basman Hutam Kahakaradam Ivoktam Ushyam.
Vasman Bhutam Kuhakaradam Vivoktamosham.
Jai. Okay, word for word. Tat, the same.
The same.
By, certainly.
Certainly.
Danute,
Dante.
the same bow.
Same bow.
Ishava,
Ishva.
arrows. Sa,
Sa.
the very same.
Very same.
Rata,
Rata.
chariot.
Chariot.
Hayate,
Ayate.
the very same horses.
Very same.
Sa'aham,
So,
I am the same Arjuna.
I am the same Arjuna.
Rati,
Rati.
the chariot fighter.
The chariot fighter.
Nripataya,
Nirupataya.
all the kings.
All the kings.
Yata,
Yata.
whom Anamanti
Anamanti.
offered their respects.
Offer their respects.
Sarvam,
Sarvam.
all. Shanena,
Shanina.
at a moment's notice. Tat,
Tat.
all those. Abhut,
Abhut.
became.
Became.
Asat,
Asat.
useless.
Useless.
Isha,
Isha.
because of the Lord.
Because the Lord.
Riktam,
Riktam.
being void.
Being void.
Vashman,
Vashman.
ashes.
Ashes.
Kutam,
Kutam.
offering butter.
Offering butter.
Guhaka radam,
Hakaradam.
money created by magical feats.
Money created by magical feats.
Eva,
Eva.
like that.
Like that.
Uktam,
Utam.
sown.
Son.
Usham,
Usham.
in barren land.
Barren land.
Translation by Prabhupada. I have the very same Gandiva bow, the same arrows, the same chariot drawn by the same horses, and I use them as the same Arjuna, to whom all the kings offered their due respects. But in the absence of Lord Krishna, all of them, at a moment's notice, have become null and void. It is exactly like offering clarified butter on ashes, accumulating money with a magic wand, or sowing seeds on barren land. Should we repeat together? Or after me? Huh? Yeah? No? I have the very same Gandiva bow,
Very same Gandiva.
the same
The
arrows,
same arrows.
the same chariot,
The same chariot.
drawn by the same horses,
Drawn by the same horses.
and I use them as the same Arjuna,
And I use them as the same Arjuna.
to whom all the kings
To whom all the kings.
offered their due respects.
All their due respects.
But in the absence of Lord
And
Krishna,
in the absence of Lord Krishna.
all of them,
All of them.
at a moment's notice,
At a moment's notice.
have become null and void.
Have become null and void.
It is exactly like offering clarified butter
It is exactly like offering clarified butter
on
on
ashes,
ashes.
accumulating money
Accumulating money.
with a magic wand,
Magic wand.
or sowing seeds on barren land.
Sowing seeds on barren land.
Purport. As we have discussed more than once, one should not be puffed up by borrowed plumes. All energies and powers are derived from the Supreme Source, Lord Krishna, and they act as long as he desires and cease to function as soon as he withdraws. All electrical energies are received from the powerhouse. And as soon as the powerhouse stops supplying energy, the bulbs are of no use. In a moment's time, such energies can be generated or withdrawn by the supreme will of the Lord. Material civilization without the blessing of the Lord is a child's play only. As long as the parents allow the child to play, it is all right. As soon as the parents withdraw, the child has to stop. Human civilization and all its activities thereof must be dovetailed with the supreme blessing of the Lord. And without this blessing, all advancement of human civilization is like decoration on a dead body. It is said here that a dead civilization and its activities are something like clarified butter on ashes, the accumulation of money by a magic wand, and the sowing of seeds in a barren land. In other words, asat. What does that mean? Asat. Useless. Totally useless. Everything's useless without the Lord being, as Prabhupada said, everything we do is a zero. Here we have spiritual mathematics again, like I did last time. 0, 0, 0, 0. But if you put Krishna in front of it, put that one Krishna in front of it, then all those zeros start having some meanings. So Krishna has to be there in everything, all that we do, eat, all that we offer and give away, as well as all austerities that we may perform, should be done as an offering unto Krishna. So Krishna is saying all this naturally because he wants you to meditate on him. He wants you to understand him. Whatever it takes. Madhuri told me this one time. There's two regulations, two things that we have to know. One, never forget Krishna. And the other one, always remember Krishna. That's the summum bonum of life right there. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. And then your life is successful. Because why? If you think of Krishna at the time of death, you will be transferred. It's a metamorphosis. You will be transferred to this, transported to the spiritual sky. You don't even have to wait for that. You can be in this material world and be totally in the spiritual world. So this is mystical. It's magic. So here we have Arjuna, I guess reminiscing or lamenting. So he came back from Dwarka beside himself, totally disturbed, totally distraught. Krishna has left the planet. So Arjuna here is reminiscing about he had so many celestial weapons, he had so much power. So in one sense you may say Arjuna had it all, didn't he? He was handsome. Many women were so attracted to Arjuna. He was such a hero. He was the most powerful warrior of his time. He had opulences. He was so powerful and so great that even the supreme God of the whole creation was his friend. And he himself was a god. He himself was a demigod. Wow! We can only imagine that God himself is your friend. You're talking with him. You're having pastimes with him. Can you go any higher than that? You can't go any higher than that. The ultimate. He had it all. And even, let's say here, he's talking about his Gandiva bow. His Gandiva bow was a celestial weapon. The Gandiva bow was, do you know what it was made out of? Madri?
The Gandiva bow.
Gandiva bow. What was it made out of? It was made from the Gandhi tree. And that Gandhi tree is in the heavenly planets. And this bow was so powerful that he could shoot 500 arrows at once. And not only was it that powerful, but any arrow, you can just put any ordinary arrow on there and it would be amplified 1,000 times. Just to know you can get a little stick and it all of a sudden it becomes magic. And his bow, his strings, when he fired an arrow, it made a rumbling sound like thunder. So that was enough to scare you, right? Here's Arjuna. It must be Arjuna shooting an arrow. And he could shoot one arrow several miles. And of course he had arrows that were also, they were practically like guided missiles.
Guided missiles.
Like guided missiles. Missiles?
Oh, guided missiles.
Yeah. They were like cruise missiles. He could destroy so many things with his empowered arrows. So he had so many different types of arrows. He could make tornadoes, he could make fire, he could do so many things. So one shouldn't think that, oh, that's so primitive, he was simply shooting arrows. Yes, he could destroy practically the entire world with his so-called arrows. So, and it's beautiful too, when you see someone firing arrows and expertise and effortlessly. And when he shot arrows, you couldn't even see his hand. It was just a blur. That's how fast it would move. So it was all magic days. So you can only imagine. He had all this. Oh, you know what? There were 3 magical bows, 3 celestial bows on this planet at that time. One was the Gandiva. Does anybody know what the other one was? The Vijaya. And one more.
Who had the Vijaya?
The Vijaya, Karna had it.
Karna.
That's a whole story in itself. The Vijaya, Karna only used it once. He never used it more than once. That's why you don't hear stories about, even though he had a celestial bow. Now the Vijaya bow was made by Vishwakarma. And it was made for Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva used it when he annihilated the city of Tripura. He used the bow to throw his Pashupati weapons at the city. So then, when Lord Shiva got through using the Vijaya bow, he gave it to Indra for safekeeping. And of course, Indra used it now and then. And then Indra asked him, Lord Shiva asked him, please take that bow and give it to Parashuram so he can annihilate the Kshatriya race 21 times. So that was another weapon that Parashuram had. And most of the time we think of Parashuram with the axe, that special magical axe that he had. So Parashuram, of course, he taught Karna the art of fighting and using weapons. And he gave that bow at that time to Karna. And as far as the Gandiva bow, does anybody know where it came from?
What about the other one? You said there was 3.
Yes. I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me. So the Gandiva bow was made by Lord Brahma himself. And the Gandiva bow was then handed down to Prajapati. And then from Prajapati, It was given again to Lord Indra, and even Soma, the sun god, had it at one time. And even Lord Shiva actually used it. And then, of course, it was given to Varuna, the god of the waters. And then, of course, Agni asked it for the Gandiva, and Agni gave it to Arjuna. So in one sense, you may say, nothing, you can see nothing is really ours. It's always passed down. Even our money. We get money, we go shopping, then it goes to the clerk, and then it goes somewhere else. Everything like that is in our lives. It just kind of goes past through us. So we like to say that the Gandiva bow was Arjuna's, but in one sense it really wasn't. After Krishna left the planet, the Gandiva, Arjuna couldn't even lift the Gandiva bow. After Krishna took away all that power, he couldn't even lift it anymore. Actually, there were only about 4 or 5 people at that time who could even use the bow, were powerful enough to use the bow. Can you guess who those 5 are?
After
One,
Krishna left?
of course, Krishna. You can't go wrong, right? Krishna could use that bow. He was powerful enough. Who else?
Shiva.
Who?
Balaram.
Balaram?
Shiva.
Yeah, but he wasn't really in these pastimes.
Bhishma Dev.
Bhishma Dev.
Duryodhana. I mean,
No.
Dronacharya.
No.
No. Draupadi. Surprise! I mean, Mother Sita broke it. Moved the other one.
Yeah, you never know. But probably they could ultimately. But it was Parashuram.
No.
Parashuram could use it, and of course Arjuna. So, what is the third celestial bow? It's very obvious. Krishna had a bow. And what was the name of his bow?
Can you repeat what the Gandiva bow could do again?
The what?
What the Gandiva bow, what it could do?
What it could do? It could fire 500 arrows at once.
Once, 500.
It would amplify any arrow. You could get an ordinary arrow, and it would be amplified 1,000 times. It would become 1,000 times more powerful. He could shoot an arrow several miles. And
How you can shoot 500 arrows?
well, you can't, that's for sure. Lucky if I can shoot one arrow. So it's magic. It's a celestial bow. You believe in magic? Yeah, it's a mystical. It's a mystical. And not only that, whenever Arjuna would draw the bow and fire an arrow, the bow itself would glow. And it would glow so brightly you could hardly look at it. So there would
That's
be...
not good because then I would see it's coming at me, let's say, if it's glowing, and I will try to avoid it.
Well, that's good. I'll give you a warning. Ratso rock. Yeah. So it's kind of...
invisible.
You might say it's kind of like when he twanged the strings, it would be a rumbling sound like thunder, and then the bow would blow. It's kind of like thunder and lightning, you know. It would put fear into your heart, just like when you hear thunder, everybody jumps, right? But you know, when you hear thunder, that's proof that you're not going to get hit, because light travels faster than sound.
Right.
So if you would be dead before you heard the thunder.
Right.
So if you hear the thunder, that means you're safe.
Yeah.
It's someone
It missed you. But if you don't hear the thunder, you better, you're dead. So, getting back to the third bow, what was the name of the third bow? Krishna's bow.
Sharinga.
Sharanga.
Sringa. Is it the Shanga?
Shrink, yes.
I don't know if it's Shringa or
I don't know how to
Shranga.
pronounce it right. He was right. It's
SRNGA.
Shranga or
How
something
do you
like that.
spell that? How do you say that?
Shanga.
Depends where you put the dots.
Shringa?
S, how do you say it?
SRNGA.
Probably has a dot
Oh,
under
the
it, right?
Shringa, yeah.
Shringa?
Or has a dot under it. Shringa.
Shringa?
Slinga.
Shringa, okay.
Tony's brother.
Shrink.
So of course, and all these weapons of course went away, all that magic went away when Krishna left. So this kind of power that Arjuna had must have been very heady. You know what that word heady means? Have you ever been heady?
Yeah.
Kind of giddy and intoxicated. Just oh gosh, I'm so cute, you know, or something. You know, you get giddy. It's kind of an intoxication, you know. So this power, this everything he had, you can only imagine. How did he keep? It's very, very difficult to be humble when you're that great. You know? Have you ever done something so nice that people applauded, and then you're thinking, no, I gotta stay humble. But you know, all of a sudden you feel like you're rising from the seat. It's just, you can't help it, you know? It just takes you away, you get carried away. So if somebody has that much going for them, how do you keep, you must keep humble. Because it's kind of like, you know, if you make a high building, you have to have a low foundation. If you don't, then that building will not stand properly. So the higher you rise in life, the more humble you have to become. Otherwise, you will be carried away, you see. So the only way you can really do it is by understanding actually your real position in material existence. I remember when I was a kid, I was about 12 years old, I used to read comics all the time. I was infatuated with comics. So there was this one story, I told it to my wife. She knows the story. So there was this primordial ocean, so to speak. And out of that ocean, that primordial ocean, this one being rose up. And this being, it was kind of like a monster. And it came out of the water. And every second, every moment, it started growing. And it came out of the water. The water was barely up to its knees. And the monster was going, I am powerful. He could feel his power. He could feel his strength. And then all of a sudden the scene changes. And this scientist says, come here, Mark. I think I see something under the microscope. So it was this little drop of water. And this being was taking shape. And he was thinking he was so great, and he was nothing. So actually, we're like dust in the wind. What is our actual measurement? Justin?
What do you mean?
What's your measurement?
My size measurement, you mean?
What's the measurement of the soul?
Oh, it's infinite, right? I don't know, it's time.
1,000.
Yeah.
1/10,000th of a tip of a hair. And that is only stated just so we can get a conception. It's really even smaller than that, but that's just so we can, with our tiny brains, get an idea. So that's how small we are. Yet, our egos are so big that I'm thinking, what is the center of the universe?
Me.
It's always me. Everything around this world revolves how it relates to me. You see? It's amazing. We're this tiny little thing, yet the entire universe, the most important thing is my ego. So, So Arjuna lost all these things. But you know what? Arjuna was a great devotee. So that's not the thing that bothered him really, that he didn't have his power. That wasn't the what was the thing that bothered him is that he lost Krishna. That's the thing. That was felt by him. After they lost Krishna, that's when, this is why the Pandavas retired timely. After they found out that Krishna left, they didn't see any purpose practically for their existence in this material world. So when we lose, as I said before a couple of weeks ago when I gave class, when you lose a loved one, sometimes we can't really understand this, so we have to use an example of something we love. When we lose it, we feel like a part of us has also died. So this goes with almost anything. We're so attached that even if we lose our car, it gives us great pain. So what to speak of losing the ultimate being of the ultimate love of your life, the most important thing in your life. It's a death knell. You feel like you've died. So isn't this what happened to the gopis and the gopas? When Krishna left Vrindaban, this is why we sometimes say, wow, they were really carried away. We don't understand really how they felt. They felt as if death had overtaken them. So this is how the Pandavas felt. They felt that their whole life was asat, useless, without the Lord. So we should understand it in that way. That's my understanding of this verse. Does anybody have anything to add to that verse? What do you think of it as, Jason? Justin.
Say it again, repeat the verse.
Yeah.
Repeat the verse?
Repeat the verse?
Yeah.
Yes. In English.
I have the very same Gandiva bow, the same arrows, the same chariot drawn by the same horses, and I use them as the same Arjuna, to whom all the kings offered their due respects. But in the absence of Lord Krishna, all of them at a moment's notice have become null and void. It is exactly like offering clarified butter on ashes, accumulating money with a magic wand, or sowing seeds on barren land. So there's 5 factors that give the accomplishment of all action, which Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter. 1, the endeavor. 2,
Senses.
the senses. What's another one?
Performer.
The performer. So that's 4. The performer, the senses, the endeavor, and what else? Madhuri.
I don't know, Krishna or the soul or...
Yes, you got it right. Super soul. In other words, you can have everything together in your life for success. But if you don't have a super soul, then all of it can be destroyed. It doesn't mean it won't work. So,
Is it 5 or 4?
5.
Fine.
The performer, place of action, I forgot. The place of action, the performer, the senses, the endeavor, and the super soul.
So what are those again? No, what are those in general? How do you call it?
Those are the 5 factors.
5 factors?
The 5 factors for the accomplishment of any action. So, super soul, as Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita also, 13th chapter, 23rd verse. Yet in this body there is another transcendental enjoyer, the Lord Himself, who exists as the overseer and the permitter. So, it's just, even in this body, we have this body, we can do so many things with it. But when the super soul leaves, if the super soul withdraws its power, then you can't even move your finger. So there's a divine being within our souls. Each of us is carrying a divine being, a super soul. And this is why you can move. This is why you can talk. This is why you can see. And as soon as super soul withdraws all that, this body is useless. It becomes asat. Yes.
So, in this particular pastime, Prabhupada, in the purport, he's giving example how society basically, devoid of Krishna consciousness. And, I forget exactly how to put it, but so here Arjuna, Krishna's left, and so he loses his powers. But sometimes we see that the opposite is also true. When the spiritual master is departed, rather than losing their powers, they become empowered. So could you say a few words on that?
They become empowered. Well, that is the proof. If the society becomes successful, it is the proof that the disciples are following. They become empowered because they follow. As Krishna says, because you are my friend and my devotee, therefore I'm giving you this. So that taking away everything belongs, Krishna giveth and Krishna taketh. So this is just an example of Arjuna losing his powers. This is just to show that without, just like light, if you have a candle, Krishna was the light of this world when he was in this world. And when that light went out, just like when you blow out a candle, then you have noxious fumes and smoke. So many terrible things happen when it stinks. So when Krishna, or even when the spiritual master, when Prabhupada left the planet, when that light went out, for some period we had also struggles within our society. We were trying to figure out, many people left. There was turmoil. Different devotees did this and did that and started their own thing. But ISKCON, those who stayed and followed, we can see that they started getting the strength. They started getting the empowerment. So
Arjuna, on the one hand we can say, well, Krishna and remembrance of Krishna is not different. So therefore empowerment could have been there, but it's not the case because Krishna giving the example here that, well, they lose it, quote, powers,
Yeah.
but spiritually he didn't.
No, that's very, and that's just, like I said, that's just an example. If Krishna wanted him to keep his powers to use, but he was winding down, this was just another sign for Arjuna that, hey, there's no use sticking around anymore. It's time for us to go back home. So, all this, everything ultimately is to satisfy the Lord. That's the point. Krishna, he says in Bhagavad Gita, I sent forth generations of men and animals and to perform sacrifice. And by doing these sacrifices, everything that you desire will be fulfilled. So Krishna says one cannot be happy without performing sacrifices, either in this world or in the next. So we must perform sacrifices to God. So in this day and age, of course, the supreme sacrifice is chanting the holy names. What's that Shikshastra verse? Nam Namakari? O my Lord, your holy name alone can render benediction to all living beings. And thus you have hundreds and thousands of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you have invested all your transcendental energies, and there are no hard and fast rules for chanting them. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. So, to satisfy the Lord, we chant the holy names in this day and age. And it's a sacrifice, because you may not have any attraction for it. But by doing it, you gradually satisfy the Lord, and then of course you get the results. Does anybody have anything else to add to this verse?
Would you say, what struck me in this, caught my attention in that purport was, is this working today or not?
No, it's not working.
The light song was not working.
I know, that's why we need to look, because they changed the board.
It doesn't broadcast, so it's okay.
But doesn't matter, but we need to use it for here, for the temple, it's not about the kilometers. People on the back do not hear what is here.
Speak loud.
But doesn't matter, some people cannot speak. So what struck me is that the word blessings, that Prabhupada used it 3 times in this sentence.
He did?
Material civilization without the blessings of the Lord is child's place only. Child's play, and also human civilization and all activities must be dovetailed with the supreme blessing of the Lord. Without this blessing, all advancements is just like decoration on the dead body. So, would you elaborate? I know there's so much. Sachinanda Maharaj gave the whole seminar about blessings.
Oh, really?
And there's different sources of blessings. Krishna is one of them, right? Krishna. And it's just so crucial. I see that because it's not the culture I grew up that especially in the Vedic culture. Not the blessings of the
I can give you one blessing. Can I give you one blessing?
Yeah, not just one. You more.
Blessed are those who expect nothing, for they will never be disappointed. Yes, the blessings, everything's. The thing is, as I said before, you can look everything as not being a miracle, or you can look at everything as being a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's according to your gratitude and how you view things. You can see everything as a miracle. It's a miracle that the sun, that I can see, that I can talk, that there's sunshine. everything is a miracle or everything is not a miracle. And that comes from gratitude, that comes from glorifying the Lord. Then you'll see not only that, all the different blessings in yourself will come out through the day. Through the day. So it's also a certain attitude that you have in life. So many blessings, just like if somebody deserves something, they get more of it.
So you're saying that often we do not even see all the blessings which
Exactly.
are being bestowed upon us.
Everything's a blessing. Just like that the story, I remember Prabhupada's story, the Brahmin and the cobbler, and the Brahmin and Narada Muni came down. He said, well, they asked, what's the Lord doing up in the spiritual world? Oh, he's threading a needle, threading a camel through the eye of a needle. And the Brahmin said, what? Why would he be doing something like that? It doesn't make any sense. And the cobbler said, oh, just see how wonderful the Lord is. He's taking a camel and putting it through the eye of a needle. How wonderful. So you can see things, everything as a blessing. And when you do that, like I said, it's a mood changer. Mm-hmm. It changes the way you see things, and the way you become happy. You become more joyous. You see. Otherwise, who cares if the sun rises?
That's more
Who
of
cares?
a gratitude.
Yes, we say
That's gratitude.
gratitude
What I'm
defines your
looking
attitude.
for is that we do not fully understand the power of that we need the blessings from Krishna, from our spiritual master, from the devotees. And sometimes, I even don't